Hey everyone, this is a video series about how to become a good YouTuber. However, this isn't going to be like most video series that you find on the internet about how to become a good YouTuber. This is also going to focus on not only the aspects on how to do YouTube, but also how to be a good YouTuber. This video is going to be massive, so I'm breaking it down into 3 parts. Part 1 is about the preparation stage, or the stuff that you do before you start making your videos. Part 2 is about how to do YouTube when you're actually doing it. And part 3 is about the after you are doing it for a little bit of time and you're thinking about what to do in the future type of thing. This series will also give you an insight as to what it's like to be a YouTuber behind the scenes, like in my perspective. So I'll give you real stories, real situations, and I'll talk about the things that most tutorials won't talk about, like the good stuff and the bad stuff about being a YouTuber. I have to make it clear though, that this video isn't about how to make subscribers or how to gain views. It's about how to be good at being a YouTuber. Now, before we get into everything, I want to talk about Patreon. My Patreon page is the reason that I make these videos. Also, the YouTube memberships are another reason that I'm able to continue making these videos. In a couple days, the Patreon supporters who are donating $7 or more will get access to the first podcast of the series, so be on the lookout for that. And I'm gonna talk about Patreon in the 3rd part of this video series, so stay tuned for that. Right now, I need you to think about why it is that you want to be a YouTuber. Like seriously, why do you want to be a YouTuber? Is it to become famous? Is it to express your creativity? Is it to gain a community? Or is it for something else like money? Now, all of those reasons are valid, and it's completely fine if you just want to make money from YouTube. However, the reason you want to make YouTube videos has to be incredibly clear. So you need to not lie to yourself, because if you lie to yourself and say, oh, I want to build a community, when all you want to do is actually have money, then it creates this really weird dynamic in your videos. Because if you don't give yourself the legitimate reason as to why you are starting YouTube, then you're not giving yourself a clear target and therefore not a clear goal, and nothing that you can work towards your goal. I'll give you some examples. If you want to become famous, then that's easy. All you need is subscribers. If you want to express your creativity, maybe your amount of videos that you create is lower, but really good quality. If you're there for the community, then maybe a low subscriber count but high interaction rate. And if you're there for money, then you need ads, you need sponsorship deals, high subscribers, high viewer rates, all that shebang. For me, I wanted to be famous at first. That's the whole reason I started YouTube, was to be famous. And then after a while, it was to express my creativity, to talk about the stuff that I don't talk about in normal daily life. And then after a while, it was, I just don't care about that. I just want to build a community now. Once you've understood why it is that you want to be a YouTuber, then it's okay to move on to the next thing, which is lower those expectations. Seriously, being ambitious is fantastic. Seriously, if you want to have 1 million subscribers and do it in just 6 months, I know you can do it. There is a possibility that you can do it. However, the chances of you actually doing that are very slim. So you need to lower those expectations, like drastically, because there's so many different factors that play into your growth on YouTube. It could be the video type, the video length, the video quality, you as a personality, the people that you meet on camera, the people that you meet in the YouTube communities. Luck is a big part of it, and that plays into the dreaded YouTube algorithm. Oh, the YouTube algorithm, it's an undefinable, non-corporeal blob of magical numbers that YouTube don't actually tell anyone what goes into the YouTube algorithm. We've just given it a name, YouTube algorithm. It's not actually called that, I don't think. If your channel and your content fit into a certain amount of criteria of this algorithm, then your content is more likely to be recommended by YouTube itself. The reason being is that YouTube is a business, so the content that you make needs to match the business model that they create. If you make crude videos, then you're less likely to be recommended by YouTube. A good example of this is Logan Paul recently with his whole suicide forest thing. If you make short videos, then chances are you won't fit into the algorithm either. Although some creators like ProZD, who make 15-second videos, have fit and cheated the system somehow so that their content is recommended to everyone. There's ways to communicate your way through the algorithm, but nobody truly knows what is needed. But we have a clear understanding of kind of things that are recommended to do as a YouTuber. Now, I didn't really want to get into the details about the YouTube algorithm, but because some people might not ever need to think about it. For example, if you're trying to create content which is really creative, then chances are you won't need to know about the algorithm because you're not creating like lots of videos for long form content. You're just making a creative project because you want to create a project. However, for many other people, the YouTube algorithm is a huge playing factor in your success on YouTube. Long form content posted every day is the best idea for YouTube algorithm. So anywhere between 10 and 20 minutes is the best. The reason this is the best is because if you have over 10 minutes of content, then you're eligible to put more adverts on your content than normal. And if you're putting more adverts onto your content, that means then YouTube itself will in turn make more money because they're placing adverts onto your channel and they get a cut of the revenue as well as you. The more money that's made for YouTube, the better it is for everyone. However, even if you make long form content every single day, you're not guaranteed to get anywhere because a lot of it is to do with luck. The algorithm works on retention time. So even though you will make like a 15-minute video every single day, if the video that you're making isn't being watched very much, say for example, people are clicking onto your video and watching 30 seconds of it and they're not watching the other 14.5 minutes of it, then YouTube aren't likely to promote that video. And this is especially true if you're making bad content. There are no eyes staying on the YouTube page, and YouTube want consumers to consume the content on their pages, so they want you to make good content so that more people will stay on YouTube and not go elsewhere. So if you're making bad content on YouTube, then YouTube will not recommend it because it's not in their interest. Remember, YouTube is a business. So what the hell happened there? So I will always recommend to focus on quality and then quantity. If you focus on the quality of your content, then you get into a good rhythm and a good groove of creating, and then you can focus on how many of this you can do. A good example of people who do good quality and good quantity are Casey Neistat, and you're going to hear a lot about him over the next couple episodes. But Casey Neistat used to make videos every single day, and they were beautifully made and they had a great story in each of the videos, and he became very popular very quickly. Lots of people were watching his videos. It was insane. Another YouTuber is Jake Paul. He makes long form content, or he did anyway, every single day. Bro, with that Disney Channel flow. Damn it, Jack's Films. And the content that he makes is entertaining for some people. Podcasters as well have a really good rapport with YouTube because they can post like an hour of content, maybe even every single day. And when they post that hour of content, people are listening intently to that content every single day. Also, if you're making a podcast or long form content, you're able to utilize that content and split it up into different sections and post those as individual videos themselves, meaning that you can use the same content over and over again in different ways, utilizing more effectiveness of your time as a YouTube creator. My suggestion to be a good YouTuber is to take notes from people who inspire you on YouTube, or people that make good content in your eyes. Inspiration and plagiarism are very close to each other. They're next door neighbors practically. You have to be inspired by someone without copying them. Again, let's use Casey Neistat as a good example. He had a brand new, unique approach to making YouTube videos. He would have a camera and a microphone and a tripod, kind of like that, and he would go around with the tripod, and he kind of revolutionized a new generation of video making. Also, he had a specific style of music which was brand new at the time. And then what that had was, because of all these features were so unique and he was getting so popular, it spawned a bundle of copycats. You don't want to be a copycat. You need to do what you do best, which is you. Non-YouTubers are a pain in the neck, especially if you're starting out and you haven't got that much content out, or your content's not very good, or you're still a bit clunky and you don't know what kind of YouTuber you want to be. Then people who don't know anything about YouTube are the worst in this regard, especially if they find out you have a YouTube channel. Non-YouTube people disregard the work that you put into making YouTube videos, in the similar way that people who've never worked in retail will utterly destroy retail staff members. I remember when I used to work in retail, the amount of times people used to say, oh, the customer's always right. And you'd never, no customer was ever right. Seriously. They would just think that they were right because they had never worked in retail before and didn't understand the rules of retail. I once had one customer come in, and at the time I was working at a bakery, and in this bakery we had a promotion that if you bought £4 worth of stuff, then you can get a bag of cookies for £1, which is a great promotion. And I was really good at selling that promotion. And we had an A4 sign on the counter that had spend £4, get a bag of cookies for £1, with a nice picture of a bag of cookies. So this guy comes in, he spends £5 something, and he goes to grab a bag of cookies. And I say, oh, sorry, sir, you haven't bought that. And he says, but it says I can get a bag of cookies for free. And I said, no, it doesn't. It says spend £4 and get a bag of cookies for, and then he stopped me, interrupted me and said, put down the cookies. And he said, I'm sure it's within the confines of the law. And I was like, yeah, it's written in black and white right here, sir. Spend £4, get a bag of cookies for, I'm sure it's within the confines of the law. Put the cookies back down and left in a strop. And I turned to my colleagues and I was like, what the hell was that? The hell just happened? What was I talking about? Oh yeah, so non-YouTubers will think about YouTubers in the same way that people who don't work in retail think about retail staff. It doesn't mean anything to them. So be prepared for the backlash that you receive from people. You'll get people laughing at you, you'll get people disrespecting you, people talking about you behind your back. They say to your face that you're a fool for doing this type of stuff. A good example of this was when I was at university. I was in a lecture and I was running a little bit late. So when I managed to get to my lecture, when I walked in, on the big screen at the front of the lecture hall, they had my YouTube page open with videos playing of me on my YouTube channel. And I looked at it and then I realized that people were taking the mick out of me having a YouTube channel, and I was looking around and then somebody who knew me a little bit was like, why are you doing this? And I had to think quick and I said, guys, I'm a YouTube partner, so I'm actually making money for people watching my videos. So thanks, I suppose. But I was being ridiculed in that lecture. So be prepared for the worst, but expect the best. The only time in which this changed was when I actually quit my job in retail to work as YouTube partner full time. That's when people took me seriously, because they didn't just start talking to me about, oh, what do you do for a living? And I would say, I'm a YouTube partner. And they said, no, what do you do for a living? And I say, I'm a YouTube partner. Then people were asking questions like, oh, how do you make money on YouTube? A lot of people still don't know. I'll talk more about quitting your job in part 3 of this series. That's when things get a little bit more serious about YouTube and YouTube partnerships and stuff like that. So non-YouTubers can be really detrimental to YouTubers. Now, that example that I gave you of me being at university, take that and pretend that I would have been someone who was a bit shy, a bit insecure about themselves, and just imagine how that would have impacted me if I was different-minded. I would have been devastated, embarrassed, may have even run out crying in blood of tears like you see in the films. You never know. Fortunately, I'm cold-hearted, so it didn't really work for them. They thought they were going to take the mick out of me, when instead I just turned it round on them. Good thinking on my part. Pat myself on my back. If you're starting out, then you will have to put in a lot of time and effort. And non-YouTubers, especially in your friend circle, might think negatively about you. Because of the time and effort that you put in, you might have to miss out on some social events, unless that is content for you, which it isn't for me, but it might be for you. You have to put in a lot of time and effort, as I said, and your friends might not like this. They might not like the idea of being filmed if that's what you choose to do. For example, Casey Neistat again, when he started out vlogging, his wife Candice hated the idea of being on YouTube, and she even more hated the idea of being filmed. So you might come across this in your time as being a YouTuber. You may have to film outside. People will look at you funny, they'll talk about you as you pass, they'll say things behind your back. And the only exception that I found when I used to film outside was that the adults used to make fun of me, but the children, they used to ask me questions. Like, I would carry this tripod around with a big camera and a microphone on top everywhere I went. And kids would come up to me and ask me, oh, do you have a YouTube channel? What's your YouTube channel? I'd tell them about what I do and, you know, how much work it is, and that if you want to do it, you can, but you've got to think about it's a lot of time and effort. But the adults, never. They would always mock me for carrying a tripod, speaking into a camera and all that stuff. So be prepared for that. Now is time to think about what genre you want to get into, if you can call it a genre, which I think you can. I'm going to talk about the most common types of YouTube videos, and I'm going to break them down into the positives and the negative bits about each of those genres. The general rule is if you have an interest in doing something, then that's what you want to focus on. For me, I was interested in making YouTube videos that centered around like dreams and dreaming, so that's what I chose to specialize in. Now, vlogs used to be easy to make, but the quality has been raised so high because of Casey Neistat and other vloggers like him that it can be quite difficult to make a very good vlog. And it's more challenging to stand out in the vlog industry because of all of the vloggers that are around. And it's even more difficult to put your own stamp on the vlog genre itself. However, as a positive, vlogging is very easy to build a community with. People are invited into your life and they have a connection with you. But if you're trying to make money from doing vlogs, then you're less likely to do so. Because Google Ads don't target anything in general when it comes to vlogging, because vlogs in themselves aren't specific to a certain topic. So the adverts that are tailored to your channel will not reflect the content that you're showing. For example, I watch a lot of comic stuff and a lot of cartoon stuff like Superman and Green Lantern and stuff like that, and more explanation into the comics. And a lot of the time when I watch some of these videos, I get advertisements for things like Squarespace and Wix and other website building stuff. I've never shown any interest in website building like that, ever. So they're generic adverts and they're not tailored to them. And because they're so generic, the price of the adverts that they put out that get auctioned are quite low because they're so generic and so everywhere that the price of them are quite low. So even though you might be having a lot of adverts on your videos, you might not be getting a lot of money for each of the adverts that are shown. Vlogs are good because they are long form content, 10 to 20 minutes per episode, maybe every single day, who knows? But people could be sick of seeing your face every single day. If you do not build the community well enough or smart enough, you may get people leaving your channel and unsubscribing. Or even worse, you'll get empty subscribers, the phantom subscribers who subscribe to your channel without actually watching your content. That it's not very good subscribers, that type. Gaming. Gaming is a great genre to get into. It's easy to collaborate with other people, which means it's easier to get more subscribers overall. The adverts that are on the gaming videos are targeted towards gaming products and gaming equipment and gaming stuff in general. So they're very good targeting adverts. And because you show an interest in the things that you want to do on YouTube, you may already have the consoles and the games and the equipment needed to make gaming videos. PC, consoles, things like that. But the downside is that it can be very expensive. New games are quite expensive and you're going to need to get the new games in order to stay relevant. However, also, next generation consoles are very expensive. 4K upgrading is very expensive. But the biggest downside to gaming videos is that there's so much competition, so it might be difficult for you to get noticed. If you do succeed, you may get the opportunity for branding or sponsorship, which means you don't have to buy the expensive equipment that I mentioned earlier. One advantage of doing gaming videos is that you can record a large session of gaming in one go and drip feed that, split it up into different videos and drip feed that into your sub box over the course of a week. So say for example, you play a video game for 3 hours, you can drip that over the course of 3 lots of videos, 1 hour a piece, which means in the long run, you could work less time and reap better rewards for it. A big downside to gaming videos is that it relies very heavily on you as a personality. If you're a rubbish person, you might not be liked very much. The upside to gaming is that you can also do live streaming, either on Twitch or YouTube Gaming, and you can create a major community this way, and also people donate to you as well occasionally. Some people have donated to me live when I was doing a YouTube live stream, and that felt just amazing, and that was only twice. I couldn't imagine what it was like if I had multiple donations like all the time. It'd be mental. Okay, let's move on to lifestyle videos. Lifestyle videos are great because there's lots of variety. You can have things like exercise or nutrition or minimalism or how-to videos or room tours or challenges. A great channel that focuses on challenges like this is The Goal Guys. Seriously, take a look at them, The Goal Guys. And you can do lots of stuff with a lifestyle channel. So boredom with your content is very low and the variety is so large, even the subgenres of lifestyle can cross very well. Like for example, how does a minimalist exercise? Or how does a minimalist make a nutrition plan? Take a look at my vegan meal plans, or waking up at 5 AM every month, things like that. The downside to lifestyle videos is that the content usually takes a while to make. For example, waking up at 5 AM for a month is a long-term video project, which could take a month. So whilst you're doing that, you have to drip feed other bits of content that are smaller and easier to make, but you lose concentration on the big project. Also, a downside is that you may have to carry a kit everywhere you go. You might have to record B-roll everywhere you go, and A-roll everywhere you go as well. If you're doing a documentary style, like waking up at 5 AM, you need to tell the camera and the audience how you feel about what you're doing. Also, cross-promotion, like having another subscriber, like a collaboration, is very difficult in a lifestyle video, unless you're doing a podcast about your lifestyles. And the last good thing is that sponsorships can be a good thing. Because the lifestyles are so varied and all the different subgenres of lifestyles are so varied, there's a lot of chances for you to get a sponsorship or do a review on a product or get a brand deal or something similar. Now, beauty. Beauty is very similar to the gaming genre. Trust me, allow me to explain. It's easy to collab with other people, which means you have a bigger and quicker growth of subscriber. Ads are targeted to beauty products, which means you get more revenue for the adverts, generally. Because you have an interest in beauty, then you may already have the equipment, the makeup and stuff, so you don't have to spend out on doing that. However, just like gaming, beauty products can be very expensive. So when you try and buy another new beauty product, which is fresh on the market, you might struggle with, actually buying it. The biggest downside, similar to gaming, is that there's lots of competition. And because there's lots of competition on the platform, it's very difficult to get noticed. But if you do succeed, then you do have the opportunities for sponsorships and branding and things like that. For example, Zoella, huge beauty person that has her own beauty range. Not to mention Jeffree Star. Similar to gaming, you can film a lot of content in a single day and drip feed them over time. So if you have a day off, you can do this in your spare time. A big downside, similar to gaming again, is that you need the personality to match. So if you have a rubbish personality and you're not very well liked, chances are you're not going to get very far in the beauty lifestyle kind of thing. Now, moving on to subject knowledge and education, which is my speciality. I talk about lucid dreaming and dreams in general on my channel. And because of this, specific knowledge and educational channels are very niche, meaning that the community spirit is so much bigger because there's not a lot of them. Community spirit is excellent. Am I right, people? Yes. That was my subscribers going, yes! Also, with subject knowledge and education, there's not a lot of competition on the platform. The more niche that your subject knowledge is, the less competition there will be. But because it is niche, that means your subscriber growth is going to be very slow. Also, you have to know your subject very well because it's very easy for someone to come along and say, no, you're wrong, if your subject knowledge is very niche. Also, it's easy for someone to get the newest knowledge and make a video on that instead of you making it. It's easy to build a community and it's easy to get to know the other creators. For example, in the lucid dreaming community, there are 3 big creators who talk about lucid dreams and dreams in general. That's me, that's Tifero, and that's How to Lucid. So we know each other pretty much. And that's because there's not many creators. Even though you can collab with other content creators in your field of knowledge, it doesn't mean that you're going to gain a lot of subscribers. Because the area and the community is so small, chances are the community are subscribed already to those 3 individuals that I mentioned before. So if I was to do a collab with Tifero, it doesn't mean that I'm going to gain loads of subscribers because chances are a lot of our subscribers are shared subscribers. Depending on the area of expertise that you have, then the chances of you finding branding opportunities is very small. Also, personality is very key when it comes to this type of content, and making an interesting video is also key. Another downside is about the subject itself. I make content on dreams. I talk about weird stuff about lucid dreaming and dreams in general, which if somebody's watching that, they might not want to share that with their friends because they will look mental, pretty much. Moving on to music. Music is similar to gaming and beauty. It's a great genre to be in. It's very easy to collaborate with other people, and the adverts are targeted to music related products. If you show an interest in music, chances are you already have what you need, a guitar and a singing voice. And again, like gaming and beauty, the biggest downfall is that there's so many different musicians on YouTube that it's difficult to stand out. You really have to be either very good or very unique at what you're doing. If you do succeed, then you do have the opportunities for branding and sponsorships. And considering a cover of a pop song lasts about 3.5 minutes, you can record so many of these and pump them out time after time, day after day, for as long as you can, and you only need to do 1 sitting for recording. Unlike gaming and beauty, which relies heavily on your personality, this doesn't really need to rely heavily on personality. In fact, if you've got a brooding personality, you might even succeed a little bit better than someone else. because it's all mysterious and dark. However, downsides actually to music is that if you are creating musical covers, they are protected by copyright, which means you have to say that you're doing a music cover when you're monetizing that video. If you're saying you're doing a music cover, then you will only get a very small portion of the revenue that you earn from each of the videos. However, that is where Patreon comes into play, which I will explain more in episode 3 of this series. If you do make originals, you might make a ton of money on the original content you create because of the replayability of music itself. People will listen to it over and over again if they want to. You can also link your album very easily, sell some albums, and you can make money that way. And if you're really successful, you can go on tour. Remember, Justin Bieber started on YouTube. Now that we've talked about that, I think it's time to move on to content plans, because once you've figured out what type of content you want to make and the reason behind why you want to make the content you want to make, then you need to make a content plan. So make a plan and stick to that plan. My best advice is to figure out how much time you can commit to making YouTube videos, and then figure out how many videos you can make out of that time. And always predict less than you think. You might think, oh, it will take me this amount of time to make a YouTube video. It won't. It will take you more time than you think. So take that down. If you think I can make 3 videos a week, maybe consider just doing 1 or 2 at a push and then build it up. So open up a Google spreadsheet and start planning your days. I use color coding and grading into different things so I know where I am and what I'm doing. Because I'm doing daily content, each day is filled out with a title. So I find a title, I work on a title, then I focus one day at a time on that title. I try and make 1 video every single day focused around that title, perhaps more than 1 video, depending on what kind of video it is. But you have to balance it with your work life, which I'll talk about more in a future episode of this series. Now, all you have to do is film it. That's it. Oh, what a long video. Thanks for watching. Seriously though, that was a long video, and I've got to record 2 more parts right now. So I'm gonna be sitting here for a long time. It's gonna be a hell of a series. I hope you get some insight into what it's like to be a YouTuber. And if you want to subscribe to stay tuned for a lot of this stuff, then please do. I appreciate it. I would like to say a big thank you to the Patreon supporters that I do have and the YouTube members as well. I wouldn't be able to continue doing content as well as I am without the help that you guys give me. If you're a Patreon supporter, I think next Monday is the first podcast you're going to receive as part of a Patreon exclusive if you're in that tier, and links below to the mini playlist of this series. And until tomorrow,